Tax on a ball is a tax on a swing, there's no doubt about it, there's a tax on everything.
Hello and welcome to the TPA weekly update. This is Jordan Taylor who's joining us today. She's our digital campaign manager, and today she's going to talk to us about culture and art.
So first off, we released a paper this week looking at government art. £3.5 billion worth of art is owned by our government. That is local authorities, non-departmental public bodies, everything you can think of. And of course, a lot of that makes sense. It makes sense that National Gallery, for example, would own art. However, why is only 3% of it on display? Especially when you consider that for local authorities who own art, only 1.74% of that is on display. And we just don't understand why that is. If you're going to own art, if you're going to have it bequeathed to you for the good of the country, for the good of art as a service, then that's fine, but it needs to be somewhere that it can make a difference on display to the general public.
I think the other big thing to think about is transparency. Another thing we've found with EU transparency is that they've been funding some very odd things. £2.5 million for video games and £10 million for TV shows, including commercially viable shows like The Bridge, which I think was fantastically popular. And other things they funded was the Great European Disaster Movie, which somewhat awkwardly, the BBC insisted hadn't been funded through the EU, so it all sounds a bit weird.
Last week we asked you guys, what do you think about Jeremy Corbyn's tax policies? And unfortunately none of the answers we received can be repeated here. This week we want to know, is there a case? What do you guys think? Is there a case for government owning art that is not on display? We'd like to hear your theories from the outlandish to the sensible, and please can you give us some that we can repeat next week?
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next week. You ready?
Nope.
That's got to go in the outtakes. Alright.